Okay, thank you, Christina. Thanks for all the uh, participants. I mean the alumni, or at least the faculty and the team members representing here, and also all the participants. It is 5:30 a.m. here, so apologies if I'm a bit slow in the day. But yeah, excuse me for that. So I'm Anuj Jagannathan. I'm from the class of 2015. I graduated in 2015. I started in 2014 though. So what Christina said, you start in May of 20, of whichever year. I started in May of 2014, and I am pretty impressed by the way the whole program is organized. So I am a finance professional. I have my CA chartered accountant from India and a CPA from the US. And for me as a finance professional, I was wondering, and I had been deliberating on joining this program for quite a bit. In fact, I started off uh, looking at this program almost 2 years before I joined. So I had attended these sessions, the info sessions in San Francisco, almost about 2 years before I actually joined in Singapore. But as life takes different turns, what happened was when I started looking at this program, and I was particularly interested because the way the program is structured is wonderful. It's a great opportunity to first of all travel a lot along with your cohort and your class, and the six segments in the sense that you don't have to spend a lot of time in class. Those two week segments that you attend are intensive enough, and as well as providing you all the necessary information, the the opportunities to interact with the faculty and with your class, and all that within those 2 weeks is absolutely wonderful for a working professional like myself. So when I started looking at this program in San Francisco, I started off at least the awareness of this program. And what happened was, by the time I had joined the program in Singapore, I had relocated to Singapore. So I was with Google at the time when I started looking at this program, and and it so happened that my my Google stint, or my Google stay ended a year after, because I wanted to relocate to Singapore, and I got a great opportunity with Visa in Singapore. So I actually took up that opportunity, and I moved to Visa in Singapore. And when I went to Singapore, I said, okay, this is great. I mean, now I am even a step closer to my dream of joining this program, right? I mean, I would have to, from San Francisco, I would have to travel to LA, which is quite a bit of difference. But now I was in Singapore, and it immediately triggered the or started this effort towards joining this program. I just like you right now, Rajay, and others. I was at this point in my first year when I joined Singapore, or first year when I started in Singapore. At this point, when I actually applied, and I had a couple of interviews, and everything by good grace, everything went well, and I started in the May in yeah May of 2014. Now I have to tell you, while it is mentioned as a 15-month program, you do get all your information, your books, and your projects a bit earlier. So be prepared for that. You do have to do a couple of projects before, and also get yourself ready. So be prepared to join somewhere around, or at least be prepared in your mind to start somewhere around March April time frame. You will have your first classes, of course, in May. And uh, and for me, I think overall the experience has been great. Like I said, the opportunity to network, and not only network, then gradually by the end of the program, you almost become like a family with your class. So we started off with 42 in our class. We ended at, I think I would say, probably 39. But the 39 that we ended with the degree, I think we are still in touch. I mean, imagine it's almost 7+ years. we have a WhatsApp group. We are still in touch. We meet as and when we can. Whenever we are in a city where we have one of our classmates, we go and meet them. I visit Singapore not very often. I mean, I did a small trip to Singapore when I met Desiree in October, but I do intend to travel a bit more now that the travel has opened up. But whenever I go to Singapore, I do meet a few of my classmates, and it's always like, oh, long time family members meeting, right? So in that sense, I think it's a great program. The dual degree is particularly interesting. I mean, imagine getting a dual degree in 17 months, with, of course, with a lot of effort. So I wouldn't say you don't have to put in the effort, but with that, you get a dual degree, you get to travel with your class, you build those long-term bonds, and then with the faculty. I mean, I do have to mention that I am still in touch with at least 8 of the faculty. In touch, when I say in touch, in personal touch. I am connected with a few of them on social media. I meet the faculty, at least for my program. I see that the faculty has changed since I first took this program. But then I still meet quite a few of the faculty that were part of my program. And on and off, I send them updates from my life, and I hear back. I get great motivational mentorship from the faculty. So in total, I think it's great. You have great faculty. You have a nice class to look up. I mean, class members, classmates, and then overall the program structure. The program structure was great for me because as a finance professional, I couldn't afford to leave towards the end of the month. As an accountant, you have to close the books and do all that. So I couldn't afford to leave work at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month. But for me, mid fine. So when I heard that, I said, yeah, this is the program.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks. Quite interesting.
That's an update from my side.
Okay.
Thank you, Anuj. Very helpful to hear, and just how possible it is. And I love that you said, don't get it confused. It's a lot of work, but it is manageable. And look at you today, and you have these 2 degrees in addition to your previous degree, your degrees. So thank you so much for the background there. Does anyone have any questions for Anuj?
Yeah, I think I have one question. More than the certifications, what actually I'm looking for is a learning journey, right? Enriching journey. So, how's your experience?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question, Rajesh. So in a class of 39, I think there would be at least maybe 4 or 5 who would be there for the certification. I don't deny that, right? But in my opinion, I saw that most of my classmates were there for the learning. And why do I say that? Sometimes we get somebody sharing an article and saying, "Oh, remember we did this concept in our economics class," or remember we did this in the entrepreneurship class. So those are the things. Now, how do you apply the learning is all up to the participants. So remember that what you learn is only stays with you during the class. But as soon as you go out, what you learn is only useful if you start applying. Now, I am a classic story of how you can apply your learning to transform your life. And I'll tell you that story. But before we go there, I also want to share that at least 4 or 5 of our classmates, uh, having gone through this program, got like a whole new idea in life to do something meaningful. Of course, I'm not saying that they were not doing anything meaningful before, but then do something that they absolutely love to do. And I've seen that people's lives have also been transformed in the sense that some of them have got better positions, different things to do, what they like to do. I see 4 or maybe 5 new entrepreneurs in our class who have all gained this knowledge and or the business knowledge side from the program, and also gain connections and gain the confidence. I would say the confidence that you gain from this program is immense, right? and that's what creates that your life journey towards something different. Now, coming back to my story, I was, like I said, uh, qualified to be a finance professional and accountant. I went through the accounting class. By the way, just a detour from the story. In the accounting class, I was the only accountant, and I really enjoyed my time teaching everybody accounting. In fact, to the extent that I had to probably sacrifice my statistics paper at that time to bring everybody in the class uh, up to speed on accounting. So I had to do that during my program. But okay, that's that aside. Coming back to my story, so being a finance professional, as soon as I started this program, like I said, I got this great confidence of doing something different. I started applying for CFO positions. In fact, I got very close to joining or starting as a CFO in a Singapore-based company uh, 3 or 4 months before the program was supposed to end. But it did not happen. Maybe fate had destiny had something for me. Now, after I finished the program in August, September of 2015, I came back and my manager said, there is something that you must have learned. Why don't you share something with your with your, team members? And I said, yeah, of course, I have learned a few things. Now, by that time, negotiation as a topic had made a good place at the back of my head, in the back of my mind, right? Negotiation, leadership, and influencing stayed in the back of my mind, saying this is something I want to go back and research. So, like I said, you have to go back and research and study more and do all that if you are interested in that learning aspect. So I actually started doing that. I started deep dive into negotiation and influencing, and I came back and presented to my immediate team members, a 12-member team, and they all loved it because negotiation and influencing is a topic that I think we all relate to, but we don't learn. That's what I have experienced or I've seen in my classes, that people don't learn, but there's something that interests them because it is something that is so relevant. And as I started teaching them, then I did an extended team member session. Then I did a few sessions in Visa. I think I reached close to about 25 sessions in Visa teaching. And I taught for about 6.5 years, about 6 years, I would say, and then I did a whole lot of things during that time. I even published 2 books on negotiation, by the way. And then in 2021, I realized that I have at least invested enough time in my life that I have at least gained this much knowledge that I can now start doing this full time. And in 2021, I started my company of teaching full time negotiation, influencing, and other super skills. So now I teach communication, I teach solution thinking, leadership, of course, and relationship enrichment, and a few other things. So my life took a huge turn, I would say, directly attributable to the program, because uh, no UCLA-NUS would have meant no negotiation. No negotiation would have meant that I wouldn't have gone this route. So so directly attributable to the program, I gained a lot of knowledge first of all, but gained at least something that I was interested in, and I started doing that full time. I hope that helps.
No, great. So awesome to hear your inspiring story. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Good question. Thank you.
By the way,
I think
for the rest of the participants, if you are a little bit shy, feel free to use the chat and ask your questions there. But Anuj, so just wondering, because I've been getting this question quite a bit from, a number of prospects. A lot of them are perhaps worried about, juggling schoolwork, embarking on this program while still, working as well as their own personal lives, their families. So, based off of your experience, how is it like, juggling all of that at once?
Yeah, again, that's a great question. I got asked even from a couple of prospective participants or applicants while I was in the program. Now, what I would say is, with anything in life, you have to put in a little bit of effort, and then you ultimately see that the value that thing is going to add in your life, right? And to get that value, to get that benefit, you have to put in the effort and then the time. Now, you mentioned family, Desiree. I was lucky and fortunate to have full support from my family, and without the family support, I think I wouldn't have been able to do this. So I was happy that I got full support from the family. You can use opportunities during the program to even travel with the family members, in the sense, like, when we had in my program, we had a Shanghai visit, and my wife joined me in Shanghai. So we did a little bit of travel. I traveled with my wife during that Shanghai session. When I came to India, I met quite a few friends and family in India during my India session. So you can do all that. Now, in terms of juggling work, of course, like I said, you have to put in the effort. You can consider this as, in Google, we used to have the 20%, uh, 20% concept, which basically means that you do your 100% work, but you do 20% of extra work in some other department just to learn, right? So I took this as the 20% of my learning experience. So in addition to my 100% work, I used to spend 20% more time in the classes. And then, like you said, Reggie, it's all up to your learning. You can quickly do your assignments and pack up, and that's it, you're done. Or you can read all your books, you can do everything, you can network with connect with faculty, you can do all that to learn more. It's all up to you. In my case, I did a little bit more intensive and extensive preparation, just because I felt that I wanted to do that. But if you didn't want to do that extra work, it was absolutely manageable. In my case, I think I would have felt that it was a breeze, just because I took it as an extra project, and I did that. I mean, just like an extra project you get at work, for example. So you can easily manage that.
Thank you so much. And you mentioned that you are still really good friends with your cohort. And how about meeting the other alumni, perhaps? Like, have you had the chance to network with them? And are you able to share any other stories that you might have tapping on that alumni network?
Yeah, I mean, again, a great point that I probably should have highlighted myself. But um, so when you join the program, you meet two different classes in addition to yours. You meet the class that is just graduating. So for two sessions, you would get an opportunity to meet that class also, so 40 more people. And then towards the end of your course, you would meet the next class that has just started. So you get a chance to meet that class also. In our case, we did that. We got a chance to interact and network. So while you're in Singapore for your uh, last but one session, some people would be starting in Singapore for their first session, for example, in their course. So you would be able to meet them, network with them, and of course, the whole group, the alumni group, is available for you to tap. So for example, just recently I got connected to two more UCLA alumni on LinkedIn, for example, and both were Anderson alumni. Both have been doing well. One is in senior sales leader. I got connected with him on LinkedIn, and of course the common association is our UCLA NUS UCLA Anderson alma mater, right? Is our common association, and that actually gives you a good talking point and a good connection trigger to connect with anybody from UCLA, and same thing with NUS. I have managed to do a few sessions now. I also have to highlight that you do get a lot of opportunities. For example, either with UCLA or NUS, there are chapters all over the world. And if you're in a particular place where you want to join the chapter as a member, or in my case, I was the chapter chairperson for NUS in San Francisco. So I served as a chapter chair for 3 years, and it's a great way to meet alumni in wherever location you are. So these are all the opportunities you get outside of the program to meet new people, meet alumni, connect with them, and then make it a great relationship.
Awesome. Just to check, Ro, Charles, Margot, and Sandeep, and of course, Reje as well. Do you have any other questions? Not just for Anuj, but you can also ask any admission questions since we have the team here. We have Christina, we have Vanessa, myself as well. Feel free, don't be shy. You can either turn on your mic and ask your questions or use the chat function. In the meantime, Anuj, would you happen to have any tips and advice for our prospects, and maybe to guide them along, because you were in this position before, and you were wondering whether this program was for you, whether you should embark on it, stuff like that. So I think you would be the best person to give tips and advice to our prospects.
Yeah, I would say when you're joining the program, like I said, be ready for those 2 intensive weeks of each segment, right? And during those segments, please don't pack up your schedule with work meetings. I know a lot of you would probably be itching to do work during your class, but please avoid that, because those 2 weeks will become intensive, especially towards the end when you have to do the management practicum, your real life project. When you go to India, for example, in February, and then when you go to Singapore to do the management practicum presentation, you absolutely don't have time, because if you're in class, yes, you're in class, but if you're outside of class, for every minute you're talking management practicum, right? So that's why I think it is important that you focus, at least during those 2 weeks, completely focus on the program and your effort towards that. Outside of that, you do have like 2.5 months before you go to the next segment, next class. So those 2.5 months you can pace yourself. Like I used to pace myself, do work, but at the same time do my class, my program, my assignments, my interactions with the team members and so on for the practicum and all that I used to do during those 2.5 months. And I used to pace myself the way I want to. It's all up to you, right? When you get some time, do your work quickly. Even I actually used to do my assignments sometimes during work at lunchtime, for example, right? At lunchtime, I have some time. I don't have any other lunch commitments today. Yes, I pick up my book and read it or finish an assignment. So you can do that as and when you want it. You pace yourself. But during those 2 weeks, I would advise you not to do anything other than study. Of course, after the class, you can network with your class, and you should do that absolutely, because those are the long-term bonds that you're building. And then of course some people go and travel during those 2 weeks, because that's again a way to bond, travel with your classmates. But other than that, I think I would not club work during those 2 weeks.
And apart from, like studying, going for classes, going for company visits and networking, I'm sure you found time to also like have fun with your classmates as well, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant by travel with your classmates. For example, from Shanghai, we could go to Beijing for a short trip. In US, when we went to LA, we had a great opportunity, and you know how we are in terms of shopping craze. So we all went. I rented because I had lived in the US before that. I rented a car, a huge van actually, and 4 or 5 of us, we all went to the outlet malls for our shopping. So things like that. I mean, those are the way, the whatever you want, right? Do what you want to do, but enjoy at the same time.